Hello and welcome to We Random episode 80. We are recording live on May 31st, 2022. We Random is the podcast where we talk about random stuff, and Brian will tell you a little bit more about that. But first, Brian, you know that old movie from the 80s, E.T.? What is E.T. short for? Because he has very, very little legs. That's right. We'll be right back after this.
Almost Qualified Productions. Your dose of semi-coherent babbling.
Welcome to We Random, episode 80. I'm Landmark. That's Skonzii. Say hello to our wonderful, wonderful people, Skonzii.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
So we are here tonight to do this We Random podcast. We just came off of a wonderful, relaxing 3-day weekend, Memorial Day weekend. You know, shout out to all of those who gave us these freedoms that we have here on We Random to look at this Wheel of Doom as when it spins. We get a topic, and then we're going to get mad online. You know, it's been quite a Tuesday. I think Skonzii and I both can say that from our respective corners of the earth. But, you know, how's it going, man? Are you ready for this podcast? What words of wisdom do you have for our people today?
I got nothing today.
All right. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to start with our positive point. We're going to move to this random wheel. The wheel's going to spin. We're going to get a topic. We're going to see how mad we can get online. But there's a couple of stories in here today that I don't know if they're going to make us mad, but there's some stuff in here that's a little bit more entertaining. So instead of like 12 stories about politics, we've got some other stuff in here, like talking about cheesesteaks and some other things. So we'll see what comes up. But Skonzii, do you want to hit that drop so that we can tell people about our positive point?
This is the best part of the whole show. Positive point.
So this week's positive point is the pure joy of a grandma earning the college degree at the age of 84. Nearly 7 decades after she started college, 84-year-old Betty Sanderson has now completed a college degree. She started studying at the University of Minnesota 67 years ago. She is now graduated with a degree in multidisciplinary studies. So we wanted to highlight this because it's a story of perseverance, right? It's something where somebody started something, life took them in lots of different directions. She stopped out, you know, for various reasons, but now has come back and has completed this degree. And I think that that's pretty cool. It's something that I see a lot. You know, I work with students who are in their, 60s or even 70s who are coming back to finish degrees either for personal interest reasons or to check a box or whatever it is for them. And I think that that's really cool. What were your thoughts on this one, Skonzii, as you added this one to our positive point for the week?
Yeah, I needed to find something that was kind of positive, and this is the first thing I found, so I put it on there. No, I'm kidding. I think a lot of the things that you said, I'm kind of in the same boat as, I think all of us can feel that time is passing us by in one way or another, in whatever way that may be. And I think at least a lot of the circles that I travel in, you hear a lot of, you're never too old for that. You're never too old for this. You're never too old to do that. And it's a great sentiment, but I don't know that too many people take it to heart entirely. Because sometimes maybe you're not too old to do it, but maybe you have a bad back so you can't walk up the Great Wall of China, or maybe you're 50 pounds overweight so you can't climb Mount Everest. And there's a lot of things that maybe we are limited to, but there's a lot of things we're not limited to. And I think this is a really good example of somebody who many years ago said, this was a goal of mine, this is what I want to do in my life, this is one of the things I want to accomplish. And life got in the way, as it often does. But I think it's cool that she came back and she said, you know what, I'm going to finish what I started. This is a goal of mine. This is something that I held it, very high in my life to-do list. And, it's also a good example for her kids and her grandkids. Who knows? Maybe her great grandkids at this point.
That's pretty amazing. But do you know what's more amazing, Skonzii?
What's more amazing, B?
We have a double positive point for today.
Uh-oh.
So, Skonzii brought it to my attention that Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers will raise the Progress Pride flag at the Wisconsin State Capitol on June 1st to honor Pride Month. Evers ordered that the Rainbow Pride flag be flown over the east wing of the Capitol in 2019. That was the first time in the state's history. Since then, it has been flown over the Capitol each year for the month of June. So we wanted to highlight this because we are leaving a month that I'll talk about in my extra point, and we are entering the Pride Month. So I think that this is really great in terms, again, of representation, and I'm going to stop myself from making negative comments that I really want to make, but I'm glad that we are going to do this so that people who are there can see this flag there and know that they are represented and cared about, at least by some people in this state.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great thing. And I don't remember where I stumbled onto this one. B was very, very busy with all sorts of stuff this weekend, so I was helping with the run sheet, which is normally what he does. And he finds all these great positive points, and so I was looking at a couple different places where I get a lot of uplifting and positive stories that I read throughout the week, and this one jumped out at me, and I thought that this is a really cool thing, right? It's nice that Evers is out there and kind of standing up and doing what's right, honestly. And yeah, I thought it was cool. And this is the first year. I don't remember what the name of it was, but the flag that's also that's representing everybody, and it's meant to represent the entire spectrum of the LGBTQ group. And so I think that's a super, super cool thing.
Agreed. So 2 positive points. Now, Skonzii, are you ready to spin this wheel so that we can get mad online?
You know what? I've been mad all day, so why not do it online? Let's start. This is another positive story. This is the Quick Dial Lawyer.
All right, so we are going to talk about the Quick Dial Lawyer. Oh boy, and you can see that my screen just got very bright.
Uh-oh.
All right, I need to refresh. Please wait. We are having technical difficulties.
I'll go ahead and read this one.
Go.
Oh, you got it? Okay.
All right. Yep. So we have the Quick Dial Lawyer, a human rights lawyer and Democratic candidate in Virginia, has started a new app called Turn Signal. The app adds extra protection for people who are pulled over by the police by automatically starting a recording of the interaction and providing an on-call attorney who can advise you through any interaction that you have with law enforcement. The benefits of this app is that it allows for the interaction to be mediated by a trained attorney, and it helps to protect your rights and privacy as the person being pulled over. This app is not widely available yet, but it's something that is in the works. So this was something that you sent me, and I was like, that's interesting. I didn't get to look too much into it, but it seems like it would be a very interesting idea. I could definitely see some police in certain areas taking some offense to this and becoming a more confrontational type situation. But depending on pricing and who has access to this, and even if you could use this walking down the street, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of things to this that I think is exciting. First of all, the individual who tweeted this, he didn't actually create this. He was reached out to by the company to help support it. I'm going to butcher his name, Cosm, Rasheed. He's a human rights lawyer, and he he ran for a bunch of different Senate seats and Congress seats in Virginia. But he's the one who shared it. He's a great Twitter follower, by the way. If you're interested in any of the stuff that B and I talked to, he's definitely somebody worth following. But yeah, I think there's a lot of benefits. And let's be honest, the people that are going to benefit the most from this app, not people who look like me. Like, let's just call it the way it is, right? This is predominantly for people of color who are going to run into a much more likely situation where they're going to need this type of thing than what I would run into. That doesn't mean that I can't celebrate the hell out of this, right? I think it's a really cool idea. I think, to your point, B, it could add some friction, right? It's gonna. We've probably all seen the videos where the cop comes up to the car and the person's recording them, and the cop is kind of on guard a little bit, right? Like it's a change in their process, whether they're a good cop or not, right? Like, they're not used to being recorded when they're doing what they're doing, and there's no reason why they can't be, but I can understand why that could be an issue. But I just kind of the example that I kept running through my mind, right, is somebody gets pulled over, the person in the car dials in on this app, they get some attorney onto there, the cop comes up, and regardless of how they're acting, how this interaction goes, there's somebody there who can walk through that. Hi, I am Mr. Bryan's attorney. I will help direct and be here as a witness and to give advice and yada, 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 right? So if you're in that situation where, you know what, 19-year-old black boy, clearly you got a gun and marijuana in this car, so we're going to search that. Well, you may have an advocate there that could say, wait a second, as Mr. Bryan, the 19-year-old colored person, as his attorney, I know that is not a legal search. You cannot do that, et cetera, right? And on top of that, so many of these situations end up horribly and deadly that maybe this will help in that situation, right? It's being recorded. I don't know if we mentioned that. As soon as you click that dial button, everything's recorded, and you've got somebody live, like right there, watching what you're doing. So I think there's a lot of benefits to that.
Yeah, and the joke that I wasn't going to make that I'm now going to make is, it's too bad that those, the cameras that the police wear so often don't work, right?
Yeah.
Because if those actually worked, then we wouldn't need something like this. But now something like this, again, this is specifically in favor of, and honestly, it's in favor of everyone, because if someone is being belligerent to the police, this recording is still going to capture that, right? And then that can be used against that person in a court of law. But, I would say that's a less percentage of the time than, a police officer taking advantage of another person, right?
Yeah, and to speak, you brought up pricing. It's $7 a month, which is not a horrible cost. And there is somewhere in here. So if you go into the subscription plans, if you are somebody who doesn't make a ton of money, so if you are unemployed or you earn less than $40,000 a year, you can get the app for free, which I think is I think it's a really cool idea, right? You can just get it and use it and access it as you need it. So, I think it's, and they have an option here. You can sponsor a subscription for other people. There's a lot of things, at least on the surface. Like I haven't done a super deep dive into this, but on the surface, it really seems like they're doing a lot of things right here, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously probably some information security stuff that we would have to look into, but I think just on the surface level, it's another good option for people. It gives people another way to protect their own, we always talk about in this country, my rights. It gives people a way to protect their rights.
We got a lot of people dying that shouldn't be dying. Maybe this helps save one or two, and I'm all here for that.
Awesome.
I'm spinning that wheel. By the way, you can't see, but right above the wheel is the Gerber Law Office's one call. That's all advertising. You can't see it, but I can see it.
Do it to me. My goddaughter, we were throwing a Frisbee, and she's like, one call, that's all. And I'm like, no, don't do it.
For those not in the Milwaukee area, there is a local law office that has a lot of commercials that are out there. I'm sure you've got the same thing in your area. And this specific catchphrase, one call, that's all. We need to get, David Gruber to, sponsor the podcast. Anyway, we're going to talk about cheesesteaks. Let's talk about cheesesteaks.
This is another good story. I love this story. So it didn't start as a contest. It began because Detroit Tigers all-star Dimitri Young was hungry. After eating 11 cheesesteaks over a 3-game series in Philadelphia in the early 2000s, Young unknowingly launched a competition in the bowels of Citizens Bank Ballpark. This is an underground cheesesteak devouring
Dun,
contest.
dun, dun.
So, over the years, Mets bullpen catcher Dave Ranciello took down 14 sandwiches. A second Mets bullpen catcher, Eric Langle, topped that with 17. Then 2 years later, Milwaukee Brewers bullpen coach Marcus Hanel went in and ate 18 sandwiches. And then, in 2022, a new champion has risen from the beef and onion ashes. Rocky strength coach Mike Jasperson has eaten 21 and a half sandwiches in 3 days. So, over the years, this has evolved from Dimitri Young being hungry to there being so many different categories for this. There's a 3-day series record, a 4-game series record, a single day record, a team record. So they have lots of records. And somehow, unbelievably, allegedly, the full record book was lost somehow during COVID. So I don't know how that happened. I don't know. But there are lots of stories, and one of the stories that popped me huge was Chad Chop, who is a former Giants replay review analyst and one of the former one-day champions. So in 2016, Chop thought that he'd broken the record by consuming 7½ sandwiches, but everything came back up, and he was disqualified because that's one of the rules. You can't vomit. In 2017, members of the Giants team, including Brandon Belt and Matt Cain, put up more than $10,000 challenging Chop to try again. This time, Chop took down 10 sandwiches, including blending the final 3 in a Vitamix and drinking them as a smoothie.
So wait a second. So first of all, this is cool. And I really hope there's some sort of record score sheet or something hanging on the wall in the visitor dugout or visitor locker room. But this is over the course of a series. Was the 10 cheesesteaks was a series, or that was a 1-day thing?
So his was a 1-day challenge.
Oh, okay.
He was one of the 1-day champions, and apparently his record has now been surpassed by a backup catcher for the Washington Nationals or something.
You notice none of these are the starters. They're
right.
bullpen catchers. They're strength and conditioning coaches.
Well, that's what this guy said. He's like, dude, I could just sit there eating these sandwiches during the game. As to where, apparently there are very specific rules, but people find ways to bend the rules. This guy put some of the sandwiches in the Vitamix.
Yeah.
Apparently this other catcher, he was sitting there playing dominoes, and he would just eat all the meat while he's playing dominoes, and then he just ate all the bread last. But it's some people just break the rules. Marcus Hanel was yeah, I just had a sandwich out there while I was warming up a pitcher. So I'd throw him the ball, or he was shagging fly balls. He's I'd take a bite, shag the ball, switch hands, take another bite, shag a ball, switch hands. But this is the kind of stuff that's so ridiculous, but it's also kind of fun. It's almost the opposite of another baseball story that we might talk about in a little bit.
The one that I thought it was when I was looking at the list. This is good, and I agree, Wiggum. I think if we're talking active players, or starting players, I think Bartolo Colon, he's not active anymore. He would have certainly been a big one. A big one. He would have been able to. What about CC? He was a big dude.
CC, CC would be one that could have taken. Panda.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Panda could have taken some of these down.
Somebody needs to write a story and somehow tie this back to Babe Ruth. Just make something up.
Right.
Babe Ruth was on his way to a game in Chicago, and the train broke down, and in where was this? Pittsburgh? Philadelphia. The train broke down, and he stopped to get a cheesesteak, and they brought him into the stadium there to, this would be cool. I'm just saying, it would be a fun story.
Yeah. But I just thought that this was really cool, because it's it's just this fun little challenge, and apparently the clubhouse attendants make all of these sandwiches, so they're not shipped in or anything.
Yeah.
It's they make these sandwiches one by one, hey, you want this sandwich, what do you want on it, we're gonna make it. So it's kind of cool. Like I just thought that this was a neat story to talk about versus a lot of the like very negative nasty
bullshit.
stuff that we talk about.
Well,
this is just like I would honestly love to do a challenge like this, but I don't think that my stomach would. Like I can eat, but I don't know that I could eat like 10 cheesesteaks in a day.
I don't know. I did the 2 sausage and a whole shit ton of tater tot challenge tonight, and it was delicious. But yeah,
I mean, we did try the sausage cycle once.
We did.
All right, so what do we got now?
This is another positive one. Canada says no to guns.
What are we doing, Skonzii?
I don't know. Well, I mean, I guess it's positive. It depends on your point of view.
While U.S. politicians are playing with the NRA and gun manufacturers, Canada is taking a stand, or at least doing something when it comes to guns. Canada's government has introduced legislation to implement a national freeze on the sale and purchase of handguns as part of a gun control package that would also limit magazine capacities and ban some toys that look like guns. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau told reporters the measures were needed as gun violence was increasing. So basically, the article kind of goes through and talks about how Canada has stronger regulations than the U.S. and things like that. And again, this is just an example of one government doing something and another government doing nothing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I'm choosing my words wisely here. Because it's just kind of like there was this trope for a long time where people were like, everybody wants to come to the United States. But now it almost feels like everybody's looking at the United States like, oh, we don't want none of that. Right? Like, y'all look crazy.
Yeah, you know, it's, I mean, you think about that one part of town where, you know, maybe it was a place in town where once upon a time, people lived where people might want to live there. Now it's part of town where it's kind of old and it's kind of run down, and maybe you don't want to be, maybe the crime rate's gone up a little bit. Maybe the people you don't like are living there now and you kind of avoid it. That's what the U.S. is now. We're like that part of town where nobody wants to be a part of it. You know, and I was multitasking, so I don't know if you read the quote, but I think the quote is the biggest, you know, slap in the face with a giant tuna. Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister, said, we only need to look south of the border. South of the border. This is the term that the fucking Republicans love to use because they blame all the shit on the Mexicans. We need only look south of the border to know that if we do not take action firmly and rapidly, it gets worse and worse and gets more difficult to counter. Like, I mean, we need how's that for a slap in the face? Like, here we are. Our country is the one who had 19 children murdered. Our country. And this certainly isn't the first time. It's not going to be the last time. Our country. Hello? Let me say it one more time. Our country. And we're fucking playing patty cake. B skipped that word when I had it in the initial paragraph. We're playing fucking patty cake because we can't pass any kind of legislation anywhere to do anything to stop this. And meanwhile, there are other countries who are looking at us saying, oh my God, that's horrible. We got to make sure that doesn't happen. Let's do something. And they're doing something. Meanwhile, our freaking politicians haven't even broached the subject of trying to do something, let alone actually did something. The most anybody did is Grandpa Joe said, we need a backbone. That's it. That's all he fucking said. And he probably won't say anything about it again. Like, it's just garbage. So yes, I'm irritated. But in the end, this is a positive story because we can see that unfortunately these things happen, but there are certain people who are pushing to make changes around the world to hopefully make sure this type of shit doesn't happen anymore, at least in certain parts of this world.
Yeah, we definitely need the Ice Cube and Chris Tucker damn soundbite for that quote.
Yeah, like that was a backhanded smack upside the face, man.
Wow. That was quite a thing.
Yeah, all right, well, let's spin the wheel, but hopefully, you know, some of our politicians can get their head out their ass and do something. I don't know. Maybe this is a good story. I don't know, but we're going to vote this way. That's supposed to be like a Run DMC Aerosmith thing. I can't sing though. Sorry.
This is not going to be a positive story because you were really fucking angry about this one. So, Twitter user Mueller, she wrote, had a message for voters upset that President Biden may only forgive $10,000 in student debt and not $50,000. You'd better still vote for Democrats. Mueller tells potential disenfranchised voters to talk to the parent of a slaughtered student and tell them you've decided to help elect Republicans who will keep allowing mass murderers because you didn't get enough debt relief, or to speak to a friend that's a member of the LGBTQ plus community and explain to them how you'd really like to help preserve their rights to marry who they love, but you just can't because you only got $10,000 in relief, as two examples. So this tweet really tweaked you, and I'm just going to let you run before I even say anything about it. So the floor is yours. Please give us your opinion.
Well, first of all, it irritates me that anybody thinks that they have a right to tell anybody else how to vote. Like, that's kind of a big go fuck yourself right off the bat. Like, as far as I'm concerned, you can take the whole part about student loan debt and potential forgiveness out of it. I don't, that part doesn't even bother me. Like, I don't care about that. It's the fact that you have the audacity to tell people you have to vote a certain way because these people are helping, but they're not. Like, the Democrats don't do a goddamn thing. They don't do anything. Like, sure, they do less damage than the Republicans do, but they're not getting anything done. Like, small little things here and there. We just got done talking about gun reform. They haven't done a fucking thing about that. No gun control laws. They've done nothing. So what this person is saying is, you need to vote for these people that don't do a goddamn thing, because at least they don't do things that are bad things. And that's a really stupid fucking reason to vote for somebody. Unfortunately, that's what we got in this country. I mean, we got the terrible shit, and then we got the not quite terrible shit. And that's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot of good. You're just voting for less terrible. And I'm sick and goddamn tired of it. It's garbage. That's what irritated me about this. Because this person, I think it's a she, but this person is coming at this from the perspective of, these are good people, these are bad people, you have to vote for these good people. And I think it's garbage because I don't think they're getting shit done. That's kind of why I was pissed about this.
Yeah, and you kind of took my thunder a little bit because I was going to see why you were mad, and then I was going to come in and say, basically in this country with our two-party system, it oftentimes isn't voting for the best candidate. It's voting for the candidate who you feel like is going to give you the least of the bad things, right? Like, it's like, will this candidate do awful, terrible, no good things that I don't feel good about? Or will they just do pretty bad things that I don't feel good about? Like, that's the fundamental problem, is that our society, the way that things are set up, is we don't have a system where we can really encourage good quality candidates who we can hold accountable to do the things that the people want them to do, right? Because there are lots of different things that have come up when it comes to Roe, when it comes to gun control, when it comes to things like that. When we have some of these polls, and obviously whenever you're polling, there is a margin for error, there's leanings in different places, but some of these polls had said, a majority of people support Roe, a majority of people support common sense gun control, but these politicians trying to hold on to their power and trying to appease their backers who got the Zeke Elliott feed me in a week going on, they make decisions that are not what their full constituency, which are the people of the United States of America, want. So,
well, and here's the thing: is it's such an ugly, and this is I guess the main thing that grinds my gears. I know you like that term. That goes back to the initial brainstorming of this podcast. This is what grinds my gears. Is I don't really have a choice. Like, there's one and only reason that Grandpa Joe got my vote in the last election. And it's because he wasn't batshit fucking crazy Donald Trump. That's the only reason. If anybody else had been running against him, I probably wouldn't have voted. I don't know that I would have voted for the other person, but I sure shit wouldn't have voted for this crazy ass old man. And the problem is that we're in a situation where there are people in this chat, or were, because Emily dropped, but we're looking at the real possibility that abortion could be outlawed. And that has a specific impact on people who are or were in this chat right now. Yep. Obviously, the LGBTQ protections and the right to marry and all the transgender stuff that's happening. We have somebody in this channel right now that has a legitimate impact on their daily life. And so I'm in a position where, yes, I have the privilege that those things are not impacting me personally, but I almost have a right to people I care about to vote a certain way, because I know that not voting is pretty much the same as voting the other way and letting this bullshit happen. You know, old man Wiggum says you don't need to vote for the two major parties if we can make change happen. Yes, in theory you can, but it's never going to work, because all the money gets poured into those two parties. Those two parties run the system. They created the system. They run the system. That's not going to change. So as long as we only have those, they squeeze people out of their own fucking party. I mean, Bernie should have been on the ballot the last two fucking elections, and they just squeezed him out because they didn't like him.
I mean, you got a crypto dude in Oregon who's supporting like the straight, like middle of the road Democrat to try to like not get this progressive elected. Like, people in the Democratic Party are fighting their own people so that they can have the like midline, like, oh, we want to try to woo the purple voters and like blah, 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 blah. But that's how we're in this position where we don't do anything, right? Like,
yeah, Ellie makes a good point. Is it starts local though. You can't just throw your name in the ring, you know, nationally run for president. It's just not going to work. But I do agree. I think we have to start local. I think that's where it all has to start. I mean, honestly, the Democratic Party, I don't really identify as a Democrat. I'm definitely much more of a leftist than I am a Democrat. But that party or any third party, they need to start local. Like sensible people, I'm not even going to use the word politicians, sensible people need to run and win and campaign locally and build that base. And that's how things can eventually change. And that's the same thing for the Democrats. Like, they need to start back over, because all this garbage that's floating to the top isn't helping anybody. You look at AOC, and I know she rubs a lot of people the wrong way, but that's all grassroots, right? Like, that's all coming up more from the local side and pushing forward. That's what we need more of. And I don't know that they're ever going to do that, because again, this is big business, and the Democratic Party is a big business, and they just want to keep funneling their own people there because they can keep taking the money and shoving it in their own goddamn pocket.
Well, and that's the perfect example, like AOC. And now that's where, like you said, the big business Democrats are cutting the legs out of these little people who are trying to, okay, I'm trying to run as a progressive in Texas. I'm trying to run as a progressive in Oregon, right? Like, nope, we're going to back and spend so much money on this like very vanilla person just so that we can keep advancing the same vanilla crap that we've been doing for decades. Yeah.
Well, and there was somebody down in Texas who was a less progressive candidate who actually is anti-abortion, and a bunch of the bigwig Democrats were throwing their weight behind this individual for one reason or another. I don't know all the specifics on it. I was going to add it to the run sheet last week, but then I didn't, because I figured I'd just yell and scream about it. But again, it's business. That's all it is business. They're looking for ways that they can continue to keep their own power and their own money. They're not looking at actually moving things forward. And there's not a whole lot changing. There's not a whole lot separating Democrat, Republican on the national level in my mind, or on the local level in a lot of ways.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's spin one more time.
All right.
Because I think we got a pretty big random rankings. NFL streaming. This is interesting. This is a lot of conjecture and not a lot of fact, but that's okay. We can chat about that.
I really want to talk about the fantasy football beef, but let's do this one. So we are going to talk about NFL streaming. With DirecTV's grip on NFL Sunday Ticket expiring after the 2022 season, along with the NFL's plan to launch its own NFL Plus app in 2022, people are wondering, where are we going to be able to access NFL games in the future? Well, the answer is Skonzii's favorite, Apple. The tech giant appears to have the inside track on bundling the NFL's new mobile streaming device with NFL Sunday Ticket. It has been reported that a multi-year, multi-billion-dollar deal is close to, if is not already, in place.
I just think it's interesting. That's the thing. Apple grabbed Friday Night Baseball this year, and a lot of people hate it because they don't have Apple TV or an Apple device. It's free it may not be anymore, but it was free starting off the season for a few weeks at least, so that people kind of, obviously they want to pull people in and whatnot. It'll be interesting to see how this all shakes out. I watched one Friday Night Baseball game. I was really, really not impressed with the announcers. Like it just wasn't, it didn't come across as professional. And maybe it's just me being an old fuddy-duddy that I'm used to, the real buttoned up kind of type of thing. Like if you think Matt Viscursion, like he really kind of pushed much more of the everyman kind of thing. Like he's good, but he kind of pushed that, and he really ESPN'd it up a little bit. And I felt like this was even worse than that. Like this is like if you took 3 guys off the street and stuck them in, well, it wasn't, it was 2 guys and a woman off the street and stick them in the booth. It didn't feel good to me. Now maybe they've changed it, I don't know, but that makes me wonder what the NFL might do and how that might work. Also, the other interesting thing is, does Apple's TV Plus, then do you get Sunday Ticket for free? I don't know. I hope so, because I subscribe to it, so I'd be okay with that. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's interesting that things might get shook around a little bit.
Yeah, it's a interesting development, and we shall see.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to talk about your stupid beef? Like this is a 12-second story. One guy plays fantasy football. The other guy plays fantasy football. Some guy got slapped.
We haven't handed out. We haven't played the, this makes me sad. That's one of the dumbest things I heard on the internet before. And I feel like we need to hand out the wee random dick of the week. So
I don't know that it's either one of these guys, but sure, go for it.
No, I honestly think it is one of these guys. So unless you have a winner unless you want to hand it out to the person who told you how to vote.
That's who I would fucking give it to. You goddamn right.
All right, so San Francisco Giants outfielder Jock Peterson was slapped by Reds outfielder Tommy Pham over a fantasy football league disagreement during batting practice before a game at Great American Ballpark. The beef, Peterson said, stems from a fantasy football argument. According to Peterson, Pham accused Peterson of cheating because he was stashing players on the injured reserve. Peterson said that he looked up the rules the league used and he was in the right. Disagreements ensued in the group text for the league. Pham said it wasn't just the shady things happening in the league. While Pham felt that Peterson was playing with his money as the league had a significant buy-in, he took further offense to Peterson making fun of the Padres' struggles in the 2021 season. Peterson owned that he sent a joke in the league group chat, saying that in the group chat there were 4 or 5 Padres players and a few of them he was friends with. It was supposed to be a friendly thing, Peterson said, but Pham did not like that. So apparently, dude just walks up to Jock Peterson, says, "Hey man, you remember last year?" and then slaps him in the face. So this is a true Will Smith situation. But like, I honestly think I want to give Tommy Pham the wee random dick of the week for a couple reasons. Number 1, bro, it's fantasy football. Number 2, you got to read the rules, brother. If somebody is listed as out, you can put that man on the IR. That's the rule. You don't like the rule? That's on you. And then, like, he's like, "Oh, he playing with my money." Who you think you are? You think you Big Perm from Friday? Playing with my money, like playing with my emotions. Did you just go walk up and slap him? Did you put the baby powder in your hand, like baby powder, go slap him? Like, this is just stupid.
Well, let me add number 4. Like, if you're just going to sucker punch somebody, at least make a fist out of it and actually punch him. Don't just slap him like a fucking child. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Get out of here with that shit. Like, this is so dumb. Like, hey, you're following the rules, but you're doing better than me and I'm angry, so I'm gonna get pissed at you. And then the sound of the meme that Jock Peterson sent, that shit was funny as hell. Are you kidding me?
Oh, I didn't see that. I want to see that.
I didn't see the meme, but I think it was like a video, and it was like weightlifters, I think. and there was like team names or team logos above it, the Dodgers, the Padres, whoever, and like a bunch of them were lifting the weight, but then the Padre one dropped it or something like that. So it's like, that shit's funny, man. Like, I'm in a group chat right now with some guys from work, and 3 of us are Packer fans, 2 of them are Bears fans, and kind of the same thing with the Brewers and Cubs, although one of them switches for baseball. And it's the same kind of garbage that's there, you know. It's just all in good fun. So yeah.
Right, and it's like, you just can't take it so seriously. And he's like, "Oh, he playing with my money." Like, then you got to play by the rules, son. Right. Let's go.
Draft better, and it wouldn't be a problem. All right, let's move on then to everybody's favorite positive. Oh no, wait, that's not it.
Random rankings.
It is random rankings time, and B, you didn't have one onto here, but I remember what we were going to do.
Yep.
So I put that onto here, and hopefully that's what you want to do.
We have decided that we are going to take the lowest of the fruit, and we told you this. There were no illusions whatsoever. The random rankings this week, we are going to look at the Green Bay Packers schedule. We're going to tell you what we think here in, May, and then we'll change these predictions later, but it's okay. I was debating if we were going to do this or if we were going to play another game of 220, but I was thinking maybe we save the game of 220 for like the end of June to like check in on our friends at the end of June. I feel like 220's got to return at some point because that was really fun, and you made a really cool graphic for it, so I want you to be able to use that graphic again.
All right, well, let's go ahead and dive into it, B. So,
all right, so what we're going to do.
Go for
it. So just a quick explain for those of you who are new to the show. We are going to run through these games that the Green Bay Packers have. We are just going to do a quick win, loss, or other feelings on the game. We're going to keep track of this, and Old Man Wiggum will at some point remind us that we need to review this like next year in January of 2023, God willing that this podcast is still going. So the first game that we have is September 11th at the Minnesota Vikings. So, Skonzii, what do you have to say about this game?
I typed in an answer, but didn't put it in there. There it is.
L.
I'm going with the L.
It's going to be a tough game. Now, the thing we have to think about with the Green Bay Packers is that they are kind of in a very interesting situation. So their quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, is returning. And, right now he's off playing golf with or against Tom Brady. I'm not sure which. There's something going on. But people are very concerned because he is not at the voluntary organized training activities. And we have like 4 wide receivers that, have never played for us before.
Right.
So there's lots going on, and I see that Scotty has already said that we're going to beat the Bears in their ridiculous cast of wide receivers, and I will go along. So now we are moving to Tom Brady's Buccaneers. What do you got, Skonzii?
Yeah, we're going to lose that one too.
Yeah, I'll come with you. Patriots.
We're going to beat them. I just think it's going to take time for them to get on the same page, for Rodgers and these receivers to get on the same page. So I think it might be a little bit rough at the beginning, but I think that they'll pull it together.
All right. So what about Daniel Jones? Our friend Daniel Jones. We are playing in London.
Yeah, I think our defense is going to be too good for him to be able to do anything worthwhile. Same with the Jets.
What about Zach Wilson?
No.
At the Washington Commanders.
Who's their quarterback again?
That would be everyone's favorite, Carson Wentz.
Oh, well, that's an easy W then. I thought it was going to be my boy again. I don't know where he's at, but yeah.
He's currently in the retirement line.
All right. I'm going to say this is the big win that turns our season right here against the Bills.
I mean, you have them on a 6-game winning or a 5-game winning streak. So.
I know, but this is the one where it's going to be like, okay, they're playing all these bum teams, but this is the big one. And they're gonna win that one. They're gonna say, okay, the Packers who lost a couple games early, I think now we know that the Packers are for real.
Okay, so we'll do win at the Lions because the Lions are terrible.
Yeah.
Cowboys beat the Cowboys, maybe.
So here's what I think is going to happen is November 12th, Cowboys are going to be in town a little bit early, and McCarthy's going to get lost at the Denny's.
I was gonna say, is he gonna end up at Denny's?
He's gonna be at Denny's at like 2 a.m, and they're gonna have to roll him out of Denny's, and he's gonna be all messed up the next game, and the Packers are gonna beat the Cowboys.
All right, so let's recap. Where are we at right now? So we have 2 losses.
You've got 3 losses. You've got them losing to the Bills. I've got the 2 losses, the Vikings and Bucks. We're in the same place on that one.
All right, so through 10 games, that's 2, 4, 6, 7, and 3, and then 8 and 2.
Looks about right.
All right, so Titans. What do we got for Malik Willis and the Titans? Except for it's actually still Ryan Tannehill.
A short week after tough battle with the Cowboys.
Yep.
I still gonna say that they're gonna win that one. They got to get tripped up somewhere. I'm gonna say this is the one that'll trip them up because they ain't gonna lose the Eagles.
I don't know.
They're not losing.
Sunday Night Football.
Who's the quarterback in Philly now?
Our friend Jalen Hurts.
I'm gonna give him 2 wins. That's how bad Jalen Hurts is.
Well, all right. At the Bears, do you want to give them 2 wins again?
They should get 4 wins. They should get all the wins.
Rams?
That's a good. Yeah, after a bye though.
Yeah.
I'm going W, man. I got too many wins here. They have to lose more than 3 games.
All right, so we're gonna go. Ooh, Dolphins. That's tough. Although you're probably gonna give them 2 wins against 2 orange.
Exactly. And then they got to get their revenge against the Vikings.
I almost want to say that this game is a loss because they're not gonna care.
Yeah. At this point, I have them losing 3 games. Like, there's no reason for them to play that game. I think I'm gonna put a loss on there. Even though I think even as bad as Jordan Love is, even he can lead him to a win over the Lions.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 losses. Actually, I don't know that would work because if under my math, they would actually have to play that game. So we're going to change that to a win.
All right. So you've got 3, how many losses?
4, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 losses.
I don't know what the math is on that, but
so it would be 12 and 5 because it's 17 game schedule, right?
Thanks.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, 12 and 5.
And then are we picking Aaron Rodgers stats? Do we care about Aaron Rodgers stats?
Nope.
I think we should though, because with no wide receivers, it'll be interesting to see.
All right, so let's do a baseline.
Maybe we pick the top receiver in how do we dictate who the best receiver is? Reception, yards.
All right, so Aaron Rodgers stats. Let's see what he did the last couple years.
Old man Wiggum is not only on his soapbox, he's stacked 5 or 6 of them, and he's perilously on top of them.
What is his soapbox?
He says, "You can't do this in May. This is ridiculous."
I mean, there is also that.
You can do it halfway through the season. It still sucks. You still can't do it.
All right. So for stats, I am going to go with 4,015 yards.
4,015.
And 31 touchdowns.
All right. I'm going to go 38, 29, and 32 touchdowns.
So I'm thinking that they might run the ball a little bit more, which might taper Rodgers' stats back ever so slightly.
Yeah, I'm almost thinking I'm going to give them a couple more touchdowns. Because I'm in the same way. I think that they're going to run more, but I think they're going to use them.
Then I'll up myself to 34.
I think they'll use them in the red zone more.
Yeah.
They'll get monkeypox in week 3. Yeah.
Cool. And then I will say, let's look at their depth chart. No, hey, Randall Cobb's going to get hurt because Randall Cobb always gets hurt.
Yeah, he won't make it out of the preseason.
Yeah. So.
Actually, he might because they probably won't make him play at all in the preseason.
We could do like random props like who has more receiving yards,
Well,
Amari Rogers or Christian Watson?
Let's do that later because Wiggum's going to have a conniption and we can't have him have a heart attack over there. I think this is a good start. We'll come back and look at this later. By the way, Wiggs, I'm going to take the opportunity to say, read the fucking Discord and figure out this cabin thing. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the extra point. B, what do you got for us?
So, May, somehow, we have not mentioned that May is, Mental Health Awareness Month, right? So we are very big mental health advocates on this podcast. It has been a roller coaster of emotions for us over these past days, weeks, months, and years. But I just want to let all of you know, as always, we appreciate you being part of our journey. These last couple of weeks have been up and down for me. And, I sent skonzii a message yesterday, and I was like, dude, I'm in a shit place. I just need to be done. And that was difficult because I didn't get everything done that I needed to get done. But I also knew that the best thing for my mental health was to step away because today was going to be insane, and it was. But now I am here with you, and we are making it happen. So I am thankful for all of you. I am thankful for this opportunity to spend time with each of you, weekly doing this podcast. And I just want you all to know that it's okay to take care of your mental health and to talk about it, because when we don't talk about it, that is when the danger zone is.
That sounds about right. So inadvertently, I kind of have a mental health-ish thing to talk about as well. I read a story earlier this week, and the story itself wasn't, incredibly exciting, but the message I thought was valuable, and it's something that I took to heart until today when I totally threw it out the window. But it's this story called How Emotionally Intelligent People Use the, quote, Tom Hanks Rule to Get More Out of Work and Life. Like I said, the article itself, it's okay. But it really kind of talks about how, Tom Hanks early on in his career, like everyone knows him now as, one of the most recognizable and best actors around. But early on in his career, that wasn't the case, right? He was a nobody. He was struggling to get roles. And this article talks about how one of the things that really jumped out at him and that changed his entire career was not taking every single role that was offered to him. Like when you're early on and you're trying to get work and you're trying to pay your rent and you're trying to eat and all this stuff, it's pretty easy to just say yes to everything, right? And he said one of the important things is to learn to say no. And I don't know where exactly this it is in this article, but basically what the message is that if you say yes to something that you don't want to do, that means you're saying no to something you do want to do. And I thought that was pretty goddamn powerful, right? Like I think a lot of times we say yes to things because we feel like it's the right thing to do. Or we say yes because we feel obligated to say yes. Or we say yes because we feel that there's pressure on us to say yes. Or we worry about how people react if we don't say yes. But in the flip side of that is we are also then saying no to those things that might fulfill us, that are our passions, that drive us, that push us to get up in the morning, those things that, make us excited and make us happy, those things that fulfill us. We're saying no to those things because we feel obligated for one reason or another to say yes to the things that we don't want to do, right? And I did that tonight. I sent Brian a message at 4:30-ish this afternoon. I said, I might just cancel everything tonight. I'm not feeling well physically. I'm emotionally not in a good place. I didn't have a great day. I'm tired. I'm grumpy. I might just cancel everything. And then I'm like, everybody is expecting us to be there. I'm just going to do it. And I don't know that I want to be here, but I'm here anyway. And I'm kind of irritated that I'm here because I should have listened to my goddamn self and just said, no, take the break and don't be here. But, you got me anyway. So I think the message is still good. And even though I didn't live up to it and listen to it today, I still think it's a message that we need to take to heart. And and make sure that we're doing the things that we truly want to do and the things that truly fulfill us. Because life's too damn short not to. Thank you, Ellie. And that's what I got, B. You want to wrap us up?
Yep. So I hope that you were able to get something out of this tonight, right? Like, I know for me, like, oftentimes when I've had like a shit day and I'm just like, bah! And then I come on the podcast. By the end of the podcast, I'm like, yeah, I'm glad that we did this. So,
no, I think,
in any case,
the thing is that I'm walking away knowing for a fact that old man Wiggum really hates football projections in May. Like, that's what I'm walking away with. So now that I know that, my life is full.
So now we're just going to start sending old man Wiggum football projections like every April as soon as the schedule comes out.
Every time, it doesn't matter what magazine it's in. Every time I see one, I'm sending it to him.
That's going to be amazing. So, any case, we hope you enjoyed this podcast today. If you'd like to give us feedback, you can find Skonzii on Amazon Sidewalk. You can find me on Twitter at LandmarkMKE. You can also find Twitter on Skonzii at Skonzii. You can find Twitter. Yes, you can find Twitter on Twitter. Of course you can. That's where Twitter lives. Apparently it is or is not owned by Elon Musk. No one knows what's happening with that these days. But AQ_PROD is the podcast Twitter. You can find Skonzii on YouTube. You can find this podcast in your favorite podcast app. You can find it on YouTube. Please let us know how you're doing. We love you. We appreciate you. We are going to let you go. I have ice cream to go eat. I don't know what's Skonzii's going to do. So we'll see y'all when we see you. Have a great week, everybody. Goodbye.
Peace, y'all.